Thanks for joining me here at the Real ResQ Podcast, powered by Vertical Helicast. This episode of the Real ResQ is brought to you by Breeze Eastern. Now, we are back for part 2 with Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Let's go! My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ Podcast. Dude, this has been awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing these stories. We gotta run through the questions that everybody said. So if you guys don't mind, just kicking a little more time in here, let's run through these because you guys, like I said earlier, we've had questions that got posted, and here's they are. So start with the first one. This is an operations and mission related. So at Bilge_rat. Question is, I'd like to hear about the structure of the rescue teams. Who do they draw their deputies from? And what is the day-to-day life on the team?
Mike, you want it?
Yeah. So the structure we have a pilot, co-pilot, 2 pilots, and we have 3 rescue specialists. So a crew of 5. We have 6 total rescue specialists in the unit, 3 on each side of the week. And hey, buddy. So we have 5 total rescue pilots, 6 EMTs. That was my son waking up. Yes, yeah. A really cool thing, though, I'm going to make some news here, big announcement for our unit. We have finally been approved to send our first EMT to paramedic school, and we're going to become a paramedic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Really, really excited about that. It's very necessary for our operation. There's been several instances where the victim needed a line established, an IV, and some pain meds on board really quick. So Mike Doyle, he was a paramedic before in his previous life on an ambulance, and unfortunately his cert lapsed, so he has to go back to paramedic school for the whole year. So he's going to start that in February, and all over again, man, boot all over out there marching and stuff. So we're really excited about that. So we will have an ALS paramedic program in about 14 months when he gets back. So excited to announce that. Yeah. And then, so for our deputy sheriffs, the way our air unit is structured, there's kind of 2 tracks now in which you can come into the aviation unit. We kind of split the house. We're search and rescue side, and we're the law enforcement side. So the law enforcement side was also the search and rescue side when we had H-125s only. So we would do our rescues with the A-Stars and patrol as well. Now that we have the 145, we're kind of delineated. So like our EMTs, they came in, they did an interview, and then they did a skills practical assessment, and they got selected to become the first EMTs. And that'll be one track that they can take going forward. The law enforcement side, to become a tactical flight officer, that is the job that's the hardest job in the cockpit, hardest job in all of law enforcement, is to be that, to conduct that role. So those we select as well from an interview. We put out a memo to the patrol guys that if they have a minimum of I think 3 years of patrol experience and they're off probation, and they have a meet standards evaluation and endorsement by their bureau commander to come over. So they'll sit for an interview, and then those that do the best in the interview, we bring on a practical fly along, and we put them through some skills, some assessments, some aptitude testing, spatial navigation, aerial navigation, critical thinking. We put them through some actual scenarios that we do on the ground with role players that kind of emulate a law enforcement call for service. And then so the best ones will probably take the top 2, 3 at the most off that list. And then they'll come over and they'll start a training program. Our pipeline for pilots are drawn from the TFO cadre. So when a pilot position becomes available, a qualified tactical flight officer who has their private either rotorcraft or airplane certificate can then be selected, and then the department sends us to a training vendor to get their commercial rating and turbine transition and so forth. So that's how we make up the team and how we pick. So they're all in-house from our sworn deputy sheriffs.
Right on. Well, I'm going to ask one more. And Travis, let me go to you for this one because you've been sitting there quiet for a little while. So it's your turn. What's the day-to-day life when you're in the office?
At the office, we'll come in. We'll make sure all our gear is ready in the helicopter. Everything's set. Sometimes we'll pull the helicopter out and leave it out. Sometimes we'll leave it in, depending on the weather. Wintertime, we take it out a lot. Summertime, if it gets real hot, we'll bring it in because I think it's 85 degrees. They don't recommend it being outside. Once everything is ready, we'll log on to the computer. That way dispatch knows we're logged on, all that. We'll pull up our flight logs, get those all updated, and we wait for a rescue. Almost every week we'll do a little scenario. Like Friday, we took out our rescue dummy and dropped him up in the mountains, and he's still up there. And
wait, he's up there right now?
Yeah, he's up there right now. We're gonna have to go get him. So
hold on, time out.
Yeah.
You took the rescue dummy, you flew out, and what, just kicked him out of the aircraft at some random location?
Well,
Kind of.
Oh my God, dude.
Well, we know where the location is. Sometimes we'll GPS mark it, so mock hoist. Sometimes we'll use a piece of equipment, a KED. It's a little half stretcher. We've done that before just to mess with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll go kick it out, mark the GPS coordinate, and give the GPS coordinate to the other crew and make them go find it.
Oh, cool.
Do stuff like that.
What a good idea.
We've done water training, any type of training that we haven't done in a while. Different trails. Let's go do a hoist on this trail. Let's go do a hoist over by that waterfall. Let's go do something. So weekly, we're usually doing something. We work Wednesday through Saturday. Lately, we've been getting rescues on Fridays and Saturdays pretty routinely. So that's kind of what it's like. We get everything together, wait for a rescue, and if we're not doing that, we're usually doing something, training, some type of refresher stuff, messing with the equipment.
Cool. Nice.
Mike Calhoun might be on the rower trying to row his 10,000 meters or whatever he does.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. All right, Manny, let me run to you real quick. Is there anything these guys left out from your day-to-day or how to get in?
No, training is huge for us. Mike mentioned it earlier, but we have a sheriff that encourages us to go train. We have an administration that encourages us to train. There is no limitation. We can do and go pretty much wherever we want to go and what we want to do. We know that these rescues, they come up so frequently that we want to be at the top of our game. So we take every opportunity we can to get out there, to make it fun, because we're flying. I mean, our job is to fly around and help people. So we have an amazing job. So we get out there and we go through, Mike made some cool scenarios up. We'll go through scenarios for rescue techs so that they can work on their medical aid. Part of the scenarios are for the pilots just to be able to fly in certain terrain. There's all kinds of different types of scenarios that we go through weekly. So that way, when the real ones come, it's not a surprise. We pretty much hoisted at below sea level and at 10,800 feet, which is the tallest peak in our county. So we try to put ourselves into situations and training scenarios that are likely to occur. And, I think we're good at what we do. And it's because we have the opportunity to do that. We're not told what to do every day. So as a sign of appreciation, we go out there and we try to represent our sheriff department well and let the public know that that you're getting the best of the best. And we go out there and we try to do that. Now, there's always room for improvement, but our goal is to be the best that we can be. And we strive hard for it.
Man, I like that. I also like the fact that you guys don't get stuck in the same monotony of day to day doing the same thing. You're changing it up. You're constantly making it better and training. You said it yourselves, man. That's awesome. I like that. Well, at Bilge_rat, I hope that answers your question. I'm gonna go to the next one. At Sarah Saved by Grace, what has been the most emotional or eye-opening rescue of your career? Mike, I'll start with you.
Emotional or eye-opening? I think probably the one for me was, I think it was about 2018. We were looking for there was a lost hiker it was very well south of Palm Springs. And so he went hiking with a friend. They daytime, they got separated down a trail. They're both in their 70s. One of the gentlemen that got lost, he slid down a rock face, or it was like decomposed granite, DG, and he slid pretty fast, pretty far, and some scrum at the bottom was what stopped him. Well, his partner couldn't see him anymore. He was deep in, probably 80 feet down, and he was in there and he's hollering, "Hey, I'm pretty banged up." So his partner tries to call 911, cell phone doesn't work. And so long story short, he has to hike all the way pretty much down to the valley before his cell phone will work. And that starts the search. So that day we looked, that night we looked. The next day, the day crew flew in a whole bunch of rescue volunteers up to the top of the ridgeline and just kind of trickled down and searched. Couldn't hear them, couldn't see them. Second night, we went out and flew it, did a FLIR search extensively. The third day, they searched again, couldn't find them, inserted rescuers. So that third night, we were called back out, and it was basically, they were going to call it at that point. So we go out and do we'll do one more FLIR search. So the command post is down below us, and so we're going and we're flying. My partner, Ray Hires, was the tactical flight officer at the time, and so he's doing a great job just FLIR searching, scanning, and it really is like needle in a haystack. We're looking for that one heat source that's the anomaly. And I'll never forget, we're scanning by, and he sees something. We kind of both see like something bright, and it's a little bit taller than the rest of the vegetation, right up against the skyline of this one smaller ridge. Kind of pan back real quick. Hey, what was that? And so we zoom in, and it looks like a guy. We zoom in deeper, and it's like there's a guy. That's definitely a person standing there, and we're kind of like, "Hey, you think this is our guy? Huh? Hope so." So, and then he starts waving his arms, and so we go to the color camera. We're like, "Oh, that's a man with gray hair with a red jacket. That matches up our victim description." So we're like, "Yeah." So we get on the PA, and I'll never forget, his name was Roger. So he said, "Hey, are you Roger? Wave your arms." And he's waving his arms. I'm like, "Okay, this is our guy for sure." So Ray gets on the radio, tells the CP that, "Hey, we have a positive ID of the victim." And at this point, it's 3 days into it, and the family's down at the CP as well, the command post. And so I remember the incident commander saying, "Are you sure? Are you positive? I've got the family right here with me." They're distraught, of course. And so I said, "Affirmative. We're going to come back and land at the CP. I'll reconfigure, and I need 2 hoist qualified rescue volunteers to come up and help with this rescue." And this was our previous model before we had Rescue 9 and a dedicated search and rescue helicopter. So yeah, we went up, got him, pulled him out. Family was super happy, and that was really cool getting to find that guy after 3 days. They found that they had some mountain lion tracks. I guess a mountain lion was tracking him the whole time, and just the rescue volunteers, when they were searching, they found some tracks right near where he was. And so yeah, that was a pretty good one for me.
Wow. Dang, thanks, Mike. Appreciate you sharing. Travis, what you got, man? So emotional. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me double check that. What has been the most emotional or eye-opening rescue that you've done?
Let me guess.
Well, a couple come to mind. The Lily Rock rescue that we went over was eye-opening just because it was so high up, and everything we kind of do is dangerous out of the helicopter, but that was more of an eye-opening to see how dangerous it was. We're on a sheer cliff face. So many things could have gone wrong, but didn't. The blades were 10 feet off the rocks. So that was eye-opening. Another one that comes to mind, when I was pretty much brand new, we hadn't even started EMT school, I think. We went to help Riverside Fire on a Jeep accident where a family, a man, a woman, and their son had rolled down a hill on the west side of Riverside. The father was deceased. The son was banged up. They were able to walk him out, and we ended up picking up a paramedic and Stokes basking this female victim. And I remember helping the paramedic, and she had open femurs, open radius. Her skull was showing.
Oh, dang.
So seeing someone with that much trauma, fighting, moaning, that was really memorable. And luckily, like I said, we were able to pick up that paramedic and take her straight to Loma Linda, which is a major trauma hospital out here. And from what I remember, they were able to save her and patch her up. But that was a memorable one for me to see that much trauma.
Wow. And they saved her. Man, nice. Nice job, dude. Wow. Right on. Thanks, Travis. All right, Manny. Now, I might actually know what Manny's is going to be, but I'm going to ask anyway. So, emotional or eye-opening rescue for you, Manny?
I'm gonna give you two real quick. One of them I'm just gonna briefly touch on. We were all deputies on the street at one time. I have the utmost respect for our deputies that are down there, all police officers, law enforcement, first responders. But there was one call. I was working patrol. I was a tactical flight officer, had a pilot flying, and a robbery comes out. And long story short, we find the car. I'm calling this pursuit at this point. Units are following it, chasing it. They get off the freeway into a parking lot filled with people in and out, all kinds of restaurants, down in a little town called Murrieta over here in California by us. 4 people jump out of that car, and one of them starts shooting at the cops as he's running away.
Oh my
gosh. There's back and forth gun battle going on. People are everywhere. I watch everybody the best we can. We get 3 people in custody, the guy that was shooting. I see him turn a corner, and I can't see around that corner. So we set a massive perimeter. There was a ton of resources involved. Hours later, they found the gunman hiding behind some concrete in the location where he was last seen. So that's one call that pops up and comes to mind because of what our guys on the ground deal with every day.
Wow.
It's a dangerous job. Sometimes you take it for granted, but that was one memorable one. And then, of course, the most emotional one, as you're well aware, was the rescue of Claire Nelson. Right?
Yes, sir.
And I believe she was on one of your episodes.
As a matter of fact, she was episode 53 specifically, and Claire has an amazing story. She wrote the book, Things I Learned from Falling, and this is actually how all of this got connected. So through Mike told a bit of the story, then I got to hear her side of the story, and now we get to hear a little bit from you. So I'm psyched about this.
The most emotional rescue, I think this was 2015. We get a call. My partner, Eric Bashta, was the pilot. I was a tactical flight officer. Before we had the rescue helicopter, and we get a call of a lost hiker out in Joshua Tree National Park. Part of that park is in Riverside County. Part of it's another county, San Bernardino. they wanted us to search the Riverside County portion for a missing female who had been out hiking several days prior. She had told some friends that she was visiting, that she was going to go hiking, and she was Claire was into social media. She posted a lot of her trips. She's an adventurous person, so she would post a lot of her hiking trips on social media, so that all her followers could kind of see where she's at, what she's doing across the world. So in this instance, she went out to go hike. She told her friends, "Hey, I'm going to go out and hike." One of her friends suggested that she take a hiking stick because the terrain was unfamiliar to Claire, and these guys were from Joshua Tree. Her friends knew that a hiking stick would be beneficial. So initially, Claire tells the story, and she says that she didn't really care about taking her hiking stick, wasn't really a priority for her. She began to leave the house, and something told her, "Stop, grab the hiking stick." These guys know what they're talking about. So I believe there's a reason why she was stopped and grabbed that hiking stick. So she does. She goes out, she hikes the trail in Joshua Tree, and as the story goes, she trips, falls, and lands in a pile of rocks. She falls down about 20 feet down this rock that was kind of, like Mike said earlier, some decomposed granite on top of this tall boulder. She lost her footing, which could have happened to any of us. She lost her footing, slid down the rock, hit a rock below inside of a bowl of rocks that was probably no more than six feet in diameter, and she falls in the middle of it, breaking her tailbone, her pelvis. So she's down there incapacitated. She can't move. So Eric and I get the call, and we just know that this is a lost hiker. Several days have gone into it. Chances of us finding her are very slim. But again, I said it before, we treat every call as if it was our own family member. And I know that if any one of us called and said our parents or our children were lost, we want to know that every effort was made to locate them. So I try to put my mind in that perspective, So we go out there and say, okay, chances are slim that we're going to find some random lady in the middle of the desert, but we need to give it our best shot. So we conducted our search. We searched for probably an hour and a half till we finally started running low on fuel. During this search, while we're searching for her, Eric and I are going back and forth on different areas that he had been to in searches, different areas that I had been to in searches, and we're trying to eliminate and trying to, just look everywhere we can think of that she may have gone. During this search, we saw a couple people, which is kind of funny in the story, but we saw a couple people hiking a trail. I saw what I thought might be a mountain lion or some sort of animal converging on the two people on this trail. So as we're searching for Claire, I see this animal, and I'm yelling at the people on the PA, "Hey, stop, stop, stop. There's some sort of an animal in front of you. Don't go around that corner. Make some noise, whatever," trying to scare the animal off. Well, as I get my binoculars and I start looking closer, I realize that the animal is a coyote, not a mountain lion. So I'm talking to Eric while I'm making my PA announcements. I take my foot off the pedal, which is what we push the pedal, we talk, and then we release it. So I tell Eric, I said, "Oh, dude, that's not a mountain lion. It's a fucking coyote." And he's like, "Dude, you just said that loud over the radio out to the people on the ground." I'm like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "No, you did." I said, "No, I didn't. I had my foot off the microphone. I didn't say it out loud." So if you know Eric, he's a jokester, and we're kind of joking around with each other. And I said, "Okay, whatever. I didn't say it." So we continue our search. Eric flies down a canyon that he's familiar with. And I hadn't searched there yet. So I said, "Well, let's go look in this area while we're out." And Eric says, "Dude, we're down to bingo on fuel. We need to get out of here." So he starts flying down the canyon, and I said, "All right, let me just search this canyon as we spiral our way out of there." And during the search, I'm looking with my eyes, got my binoculars in hand. I saw trash in the middle of nowhere floating around in the air. So it was one of those things that was different than everything else I had searched and looked at during these couple hours now. So I asked Eric, hey, Eric, can you come around? There's some trash down here. I don't know what it is, but it's worth looking at. So came around again, and the winds were screaming over the hills and over the rocks. So Eric is coming, into the wind. He's kind of slowed up. As he comes around, the wind's pushing us, and he's hauling ass. So he's making those adjustments as a pilot. And I'm looking at the binoculars, and I can only see this piece of trash for a split second as the wind pushes us by and as the helicopter is hauling butt because of how deep these rocks were. So finally, I'm like, dude, I have to eliminate this from being trash. So can you come into a hover? So Eric gets into a hover, says, okay, I'm comfortable here. I said, all right, let's just slide left, and I need to look straight down into this rock. So I'm looking on binos, and we're coming left, and I see the trash, and I'm like, oh, it's just a plastic bag. But then the plastic bag was attached to what we later determined was the hiking stick that Claire took with her. She fell down that rock. She used that hiking stick, tied a bag, and was using it to wave for help anytime an aircraft would fly over. She had seen several aircraft fly over, and she was out there for, I think it was 3 nights,
right? To
the point where she video recorded her entire stay in the middle of the desert, I guess you would say, and she documented it. And she got to the point where she documented what she was thinking was going to be the end of her life. She was drinking her urine to survive. A mouse had eaten the rest of her food, and she was down to the final moments of what she thought was going to be of her life. And because Eric and I were persistent in our search, we were able to find her. Once we did find her, we decided to call CHP, California Highway Patrol, our desert crew. They're amazing people out there that do rescues as well. And Eric and I decided we're going to land. We're going to go see if there's anything we can do to help her out while we have CHP and medical helicopters start making their way towards us, which from the desert, we were about 45 minutes or so east of 30 minutes east of Palm Desert, I guess, Palm Springs. So
okay.
Eric and I land about a mile away. We couldn't quite get to where she was at. We had to hike down to where she was. So Eric and I made our way down to her. While we're walking down, we're kind of scurrying down some pretty steep rocks. We had to actually climb through boulders and down to get to her. And eventually we made it down to her. She confirmed it was Claire. And there was a couple funny parts to the story. But one of them was I had thought, well, let's bring some bottled water because she's probably dehydrated. And Eric wanted to bring an apple, which I thought was weird. An apple, but okay. He brought an apple. So we get down there. I offer her water. She doesn't want any water. Eric offered her the apple, and she wanted that apple bad. So she took the apple, and as we're talking, we're trying to say, do you know what day it is? Do you know where you're at? Do you know who our president is? At the time, she made a comment about her president, and Eric Bastia says, give me that apple back. And he grabs the apple, and Claire's face looked like she was going to start crying right there. Eric was joking, and he's all, just kidding.
Dick!
Oh, he goes to take the apple away from someone who's been starving for 4 days now, kind of like Mike and I are, and my wife. So as we're talking to her, CHP's coming in. They're going to hoist her out. We're working on an emergency evac plan, and we're just small talking. She's in good spirits, and she goes, I thought I was hallucinating when I heard you guys saying, attention in the area, we're searching for a missing hiker. Her name's Claire Nelson. which was me making announcements. She goes, I thought I was hallucinating because so many aircraft are flying over. But at one point, I heard somebody on the loudspeaker say, it's a fucking coyote. And I realized that these guys, there really is somebody there. And Eric turns around, looks at me, and says, I told you said it over the PA system. So she's probably wondering who these dumbasses are that are rescuing her.
Oh, that's great.
But at the end of it, she spent, we rescued her. She went to the hospital. She spent about a year in rehabilitation. It was a long process, but it was the first rescue that I had ever been involved in. And even up until today, 15 years later, that she's the only person I've become friends with. And I actually heard the end of the story of the rescue. And I'm sure you're well aware from all your years of rescue, you help so many people. Yeah. And when they're gone, and you never really get the full story of what happened. You never hear back from them.
Right. No, it's awesome.
Right. And we've all been there. We all know, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners know the feeling of just never having closure and never knowing what the outcome was. But in Claire's story, she was such a cool chick. We got along really well. Later on in her rehabilitation, my wife and I met out with her and had some whiskey out in Palm Springs and got a chance to really get to know her. And cool. Through that process, I learned that she was writing a book, and it's a great story. It's a great story on survival, of the will to survive, the mentality of not being a quitter, just in life in general. She didn't quit in life. She fought till she had nothing left in her. And she kept trying to fight. It's a good story about not giving up as search and rescue platform until you've exhausted all angles. And I think that because we did everything we could and went a little bit beyond what some people may have done, I don't know, but it was one of those things. Eric and I say, you know what, if she's out here, we need to at least try till we cannot try any further. And Eric pushed that helicopter to the safest limit he could, to the point that we were forced to get ready to head back, and someone was watching over us, and it worked out good. And now she's alive to tell her story. So that is the most emotional story I have.
That's awesome. I'm so glad I get to hear it from you as well. And actually, I'm going to do a one little shout out to Claire as well, because just recently, within the past 6 or 8 months, she actually came out to see you on her accident anniversary, and you guys got to take her for a flight and go back to that spot with her and had a great connection again. So I'm stoked that you guys are keep going.
That was amazing. That was a lot. Mikey, he's really good. He's at what he does. He's compassionate about what he does. And on her anniversary, he suggested, what if we flew back there? And because it was such a memorable rescue, I remembered the exact spot. I had taken people to that spot before to show them where she was, that we located her. So I knew exactly where it was in this group of rocks. And Mike had suggested, let's do a reunion, and let's see the raw emotions of her going out there and finally going back to where this all went down. And as much as it was therapeutic for her, it was also therapeutic for me, because I got to go back there and I felt her emotion, and I could feel it felt to me like I could just feel her fears while she was in there, her thought process, and she explains it so clearly when she speaks. She's very articulate on how she speaks, and the way she tells the story, walking down there with her, taking the same path that she's telling us. I turned here and I looked out here, and I was just overlooking this whole valley, trying to figure out, okay, which direction do I need to go next? And all of a sudden, I'm sliding down into this ravine, and she describes it in such detail. And Mike documented a lot of this reunion, and it's one of those things that when I retire and I look back on my career, this is this is the highlight of my career. It's one of those things that that just makes me proud of what it is that we do, and that is saving people's lives.
Freaking awesome, dude. Manny, I'm so glad you told me that story. Um, I love how you guys still keep in touch. It's amazing. So
Yeah,
that's super
awesome.
cool. Super cool. Thanks for sharing, man. We're going to divert real quick to thank our sponsors.
Breeze Eastern. For over 80 years, Breeze Eastern has designed and manufactured battle-proven aerial rescue hoists, winches, and cargo hooks. Each product is carefully crafted to support demanding mission scenarios, ensuring the job gets done safely and efficiently. Visit them today at www.breeze-eastern.com.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go to the next question. So we got 2 questions from @Bravo_Guns, aka Brad. So, what advice, lessons learned, and suggestions does the team have with respect to an agency procuring an A-Star for patrol and occasional hoist work when they're not justified for the twin? Mike, let me drop that to you.
I would first say that there's always a justification for a twin engine capable search and rescue helicopter. I know that's probably the administration saying that. There is some sticker shock involved with that, and that was one of the fights that we had for many, many years before we got ours. And I will say that the H-125, the A-Star, is the best platform for both law enforcement and for hoist rescue for single engine. We absolutely love ours. We still utilize ours for hoisting when the 145 is down. It's extremely comfortable, capable, has so much power. I mean, we hover out of ground effect at 13,000 DA up at Mount San Jacinto with the A-Star. You just got to get it light on fuel, and but it's doable, and we did that, for the first 20 years of our rescue program. So I would highly recommend it. Very capable. They would not regret using that aircraft for both of those missions. I would say, though, that if you're going to be an occasional hoist rescue bird, that you stay very proficient and constantly train in it. It is a very, very perishable skill. We still train in the A-Star as well to stay current and proficient. There's times where you have to jump in and perform it. I had to do that when SR3 was out in May doing that initial Lazard training, and we had a vehicle over the side. This lady tried to kill herself, and the 145 was tied up in the training. So I called the patrol bird over, and the pilot, he landed. He became my hoist operator, and I flew that. It was a Litter Stokes rescue in the canyon, and but it was a good testament toward. He stayed current as a hoist operator because he was one before he was a pilot, and I stayed current in the A-Star, as we all do, and it went surprisingly well. It was I hadn't done a live hoist rescue in an A-Star probably in quite a while before that, but I would say stay very proficient and current in the training with it for that operation.
Nice. Right on. I appreciate that one. I'm going to throw one more question out, and as far as A-Star specific, so Brad's also asking, when you think of balancing weight on the A-Star with mission equipment and personnel, how is the helicopter stable enough to get the job done?
I can answer that just real quick. The 125 H125 version, we did have some challenges with center of gravity because of the infrared camera we had on the nose. They had to max out all the counterweight in the tail cone, so there was a little bit. There is a little bit of CG issue if you have your larger infrared cameras on the nose. With the hoist, we're on a BF Goodrich hoist on all of our aircraft, so it can be challenging for your CG issues, but it's not impossible. So yeah, it's doable. Yeah, it's not a deal breaker.
Awesome. For technical or anything else, Mike, I'm going to drop you under the right in there. Can guys or people contact you for questions like this, or if there are any more follow-up questions?
Yeah, sure. Love to answer any questions. You can contact me at mikecalhoun21@gmail.com.
Right on. Thanks, man. I appreciate that one.
Yeah.
All right. The next question. This is from @KMOY @KMOY. What is the craziest thing someone has said to you when you first reached them? Go ahead, Mike.
I can't think of
probably gone to
anything.
Travis for this one.
Yeah.
Wait, you're in the front seat. You don't meet anybody. I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding, Mike. Okay, I'm kidding.
I know what they say to Travis.
All right, Travis. What about you? What's a crazy thing somebody said to you when you meet them or when you get up to them?
Remember anybody saying anything too crazy to remember? I get a lot of I'm scared of heights.
Can I get your phone number?
I'm scared of heights. You're getting hoisted to a helicopter.
We got the same place we did that night hoist that we discussed. We have one where an 11-year-old rolled his ankle, and we got him and his mom out. And mom, first thing she told me was, "I'm scared of heights." And I was like, "Well, we'll go."
That's cool. I like that. What about you, Manny? I mean, you know what? I got to throw Claire back in there and be like, I felt like I was hallucinating. And you're like,
yeah,
ah!
yeah. The first thing, one of the first few words coming out of her mouth were very memorable. And I think the first thing I really honestly remember is the whole hallucination and it's a fucking coyote. So that was one of the funnier ones. And I think Mike said it earlier, but now as pilots, we don't go. We have our EMTs. They've got so much training, and they've surpassed where we were when we were doing hoist operating. So they're making most of the patient contact now. But I do remember that a lot of the patients that I had dealt with, they were always scared about how much it was going to cost. And Mike said it before, but he's had people try to turn us away because the only thing they're thinking is how much money this is going to cost them and their family. So we really emphasize with our patients now, and I know our medics are good about doing it, is letting them know that this is not going to cost you a penny. This is compliments of Riverside County. We have the support of our sheriff, and his direction to us is to get out there and help the public. So for anybody that ever finds himself in a bad situation, and I could speak for at least Riverside County, the ride's free. If you're injured, don't be embarrassed to call us. Set your pride aside because we're here to help, and it's a fun ride. So take advantage of it.
Nice. All I keep thinking about that is my buddy Claude Morrissey, who's like, he'll get up to the victim and say, ass, grass, or cash. Nobody rides for free. Just kidding. Come on, let's get in the helicopter. I'm like, dude.
That's a great line. That's a classic.
So, hey, you know what? You can steal it and you can say it was mine, but it wasn't mine. It was Claude. So
I'm pretty sure if any of us were to say it, it would be Travis.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Travis, I expect a full report after and the reaction, okay? Oh, man, I love it. All right, training related questions. This one is from @NSRescue89. Question is, what is the training cadence and what do they do for training? I know we touched on a little bit of you guys have a lot of training, but let's go into a little more detail. So training cadence and what do you actually do for training? A little bit of both. Do you have minimums?
Travis, you've been setting up our training lately.
Amongst our own crew, we have to train once a year annually with all the agencies we work with for a day hoist and a night hoist. Actually, we just did our desert search and rescue guys, volunteers. We did their night hoisting last night. And so there's a lot of agencies we work with and other we work with we have some stuff coming up. The SWAT team, sometimes we do some hoisting. A bunch of volunteers, a bunch of other agencies, fire departments. Like Mike said, reference the horse rescue. We work with those guys once a year doing a mock horse. We work with the coroner's office, which is our department. We hoist them because we have to insert them on, unfortunately, that don't make it. So we work with the coroners. We work with all those departments and volunteer groups.
Dang, man, that's a lot. That's great. That's great. All right, next question. So this is at Sparkles _the_ Marmoset1. Still a low nursing student, but is there a need for an outdoorsy flight nurse? I'm impressed.
Travis?
Yeah, Travis?
We don't currently have a nurse position with the Sheriff's Department, but we got Mercy Air and Reach and a lot of those air ambulances, and they all have flight nurses on them.
Right on. Maybe you guys need it.
Yeah, in our unit.
That would be great. I will say that there are some search and rescue entities that do have doctors and RNs on a volunteer basis. Like our neighbors, San Bernardino County, they have flight nurses, paramedics, and doctors that are volunteers that ride out. So if Sparkles lives near one of those agencies, then maybe she can contact them and inquire. Yeah, they probably would require at least, I don't know, 2 to 4 years of most likely ICU or ER experience beforehand.
Nice. Perfect. Thanks. All right, next question. This is at GUILLERMOJII. I think it's Guller Moji. That's what I'm going to go with. So at Guller Moji, how many years does it take to get into the helicopter, I'm going to say, rescue program?
I guess I'll answer it. For us in our rescue unit, we start out as flight officers into the unit. Then we transition into the pilot seat. And if we're speaking on the pilot side of the rescue unit, you have to be a full signed off pilot for all rescues, high and low, unrestricted, to eventually move into the pilot seat of the H-145. And once you get over there, you go through the transition course into that, and you do your instrument training to get instrument rated. So that's kind of the streamline on the pilot side of it. As far as the medics go, the medics is fairly a new program. I think it's a little over 3 years in the making now. It's grown so much, and like I said, these guys have surpassed where we once were. So they had to have a minimum experience on patrol. Generally, it's about a 5-year experience level that we like to see to come into the unit. These guys tested for the EMT position. They went through the EMT school and training, and that was the bare minimum for them. Then they had to go through our whole in-house training program and regimen, which still took another additional year or so to kind of get spooled up on how we do things. So basically, I guess the long and short of it is it generally takes about 5 years to get from patrol to our unit, and then you can potentially be doing rescues within a couple years on the patrol aspect in the 125, and then you move over to the 145. So it does take a long time, but it's a progression, and we break everything down in steps, and we have an amazing training program. A lot has to do with our former chief pilot back in the day, Tony Bowen, set this training program up, did an amazing job. And then Mikey took over and just continued to build on it. So we have good chiefs out there that are making this program better and better day by day.
Dude, that's awesome. And 5 years is actually, in my mind, is pretty quick. If you listen to the guys down in LA, it's a long time. It's almost 10 to 12 years to get into the helicopter search and rescue in the LA. U.S. Coast Guard. Yep, go ahead.
I'm sorry, to clarify, the 5 years is pretty much the requirement to get into our air unit. And then it still takes a few years before you're in the air unit and you're fully signed off to do unrestricted rescues. So now we're looking towards the 8 to 10 year mark. Most of our pilots, all of our pilots in the Rescue 9 platform have all been there. I'm the youngest there's a couple of us. We've all been in the unit for about 15 years. So we've all, had a long period of exposure in the unit of training. But the rescue guys in general had about 10 years or so experience before they transitioned into the full-time rescue platform helicopter.
Right on. Yeah, and I think about myself with the U.S. Coast Guard. I mean, it took me you figure from boot camp to fully qualified rescue swimmer, it was about 3.5 years, 3 years-ish. So it takes time, for sure, no matter what avenue you're going to do. Because you got to start from ground zero and move your way up. So, nice. All right, just a couple more, guys. So this is from @LukeHorseman. What is the minimum level of paramedic or medical qualification that you accept for rescue officers? Now, we already know you guys are EMT basics, but would you guys accept if there was a level of EMT basic or higher already into the program? Mike?
Yeah. When we first started, none of them were current EMTs or paramedics, but it did factor into like one guy who used to be a paramedic. And so we picked the 6 guys, and they all went to EMT school after that, and went together. And so it's kind of unique. There's not very many EMTs that are in our department, at least, out there working patrol. So it's something that we realized that, we're going to have to train that person to get that certificate, and then go through all of our in-house training as well. So, but we have other people out there we've heard that are still current paramedics from their previous life. There's even a deputy that works for us that she's a registered nurse in the Air Force. Does our medical training stuff. And she's expressed interest in coming over to the unit eventually. So we do have some out there, but it is most likely we're going to have to send that person to EMT and then paramedic school.
Just out of curiosity, for my own curiosity, for anybody else, if you already have that school, if they're motivated to go get that training ahead of time, would that help their chances to come into the unit?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. If they're already a paramedic and we're going that route now, then that would just be that much quicker to start utilizing them and getting them in the bloodstream a lot quicker and have them, instead of having to go to school for a year. Perfect. All right. Another question from Luke is, have you ever done any training for scenarios such as the mountain bike? And if not, how would you approach a scenario to come up with that solution?
I guess I'll answer, but I've said it before, but we try to train for every scenario. I don't know that we've actually thrown I know I haven't actually thrown a mountain bike out there and picked it up, but we frequently train with the 2-up. I think Travis mentioned it earlier in the podcast, but the 2-up allows us to hoist a crew member and equipment. So because we train with the 2-up often, instead of it being a live person, now it's just a bicycle. So it's not much different in the way of training and going over the scenario. I don't know if Mike has it with him or not, but Mike came up with really cool scenarios, and they're cards, and he'll randomly just go up, grab this card and read what the scenario is. Yeah, there you go. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, look at that. Oh, I like it.
Yeah, a lot of these were previous live rescues that we did. And when we're flying back, we'd be like, hey, this is a really good rescue operation that maybe the guys on the other side of the week, should know about. And we'll always tell them what we had at debriefing. So hey, let's make this one a scenario so we can go back and do it again, daytime or nighttime. Maybe we did it daytime the first time, and nighttime, let's try it at nighttime. So I just wrote up these cards, laminated them, and it's 1 through 6. And so I'll just say, hey guys, pick a number, okay, 4. All right. Hey, rescue number or scenario 4, read off, all the pertinent information, location, any injuries or what the status is, status of their cell phone and all that, what they're wearing. And it just keeps it kind of fresh and interesting. If we get in those lulls of there's no real business going on, we do go through those patches where it could be 2, 3, 4 weeks and we don't have any kind of live rescue calls. So we got to make our own, that's where we have that training dummy. We'll just take him out and you'll see him. I've been putting him on my Instagram. He's got his own little nickname already. Yeah, and yeah, you'll see them. We'll put them out there and do the different scenarios. Very complex to hey, it's just going to be a simple hot seat extraction. So yeah, sometimes you got to do that and just keep it interesting, keep it fun, and yeah, it's a good time.
Dude,
one thing we do, we also we have come across situations where people are hiking with their dog, and so we have to hoist the dog out as well. So we have this giant nylon parachute bag that we take, and we'll just have to put the dog in the bag, zip them up, put them on the two up, and away they go together.
Oh,
that's another thing too. People that really draws people's attention is like, thank you. You rescued the dog. You didn't just leave the dog. And we're like, no, we're not going to just leave the dog on the mountain in the middle of nowhere. To be victimized by the local animals out there. And no, we're going to do everything we can to get your dog too.
Nice. Leave it with the fucking coyote. Hey, Manny.
I said it.
Funny.
My bad.
Sorry. I should like bleep that. Beep, bleep. All right. One last question, which I think it's more of a hard time for me, but that's all right. I'm going to ask it. And that is at hard to kill or hard_2_kill_syndicate. Why do you not have merch? I'm working on it. Do you guys have merchandise? How do we get merch?
Yeah. Everybody's got merchandise, Quinny, except you.
I'm working on it. Come on, man.
You know what? If you had some sponsors that could help out, I'm sure that would be beneficial to all of us because I want some free shirts.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. You know what? I'll work on that even more now. All right. Yeah. Look, I got this one. All right, and that one started, and then I got another one coming, but it's a pre-order. It'll happen.
The thing is, Quinny, you have it. We don't have it.
I'll work on it. I'll work on that. Okay. All right, we got to work on it. So what's the list here? We need T-shirts. We need challenge coins. We need hats. What else do we need? We got just name it up. Stickers. We can do stickers.
There's
stickers.
A few of the basics. Like a lot of people collect the patches. My son's a patch collector too.
Okay, patches.
There's all kinds of stuff, but I think that's why we need sponsors, or we need guys like Mike that love buying all this stuff and hooking us up. Mike keeps us dressed nicely.
I like it. Okay. All right. Well, just in case it's for your swag, can we use the same email, Mike, to maybe get a patch sent to wait, what was it? It was hard to kill syndicate?
Yeah, I'll do my best. But I mainly get it for our dissemination, but I can't, we're not really set up to like sell merch around the world or anything, but if you like come to the hangar or if we're out at your shop, we'll bring some stuff, and that's how we kind of get it disseminated out there. But if you send me an email, I'll do my best to get you something.
And I'll work on it on my end as well. I promise. So let's see. 2024 is right around the corner, so it might not be that long. I'm just saying. Things are in the works. All right, gentlemen, that was the last question. We have been on for well over 2 hours. Thank you so much for all the stories and the recap and then answering everybody's questions that submitted. Thank you, everybody out there that submitted questions. Super appreciative. Is there anything else you guys want to say before I let you go? Mike?
Thanks, Quinny, for doing what you do and having us on again. Really appreciate it, man. Love your podcast, and just keep doing what you do for the industry. You're reflecting it very well. We love your energy. We all really enjoyed meeting you back in March when SR3 came out and did some training for us, and so wish you the best, man, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, me too. With more rescues. Oh yes. All right. Travis, what you got?
Good seeing you, buddy, and I look forward to seeing this podcast.
Right on, brother. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you. And Manny, last words from the last man.
Jason, thank you, man. It's been an honor again to sit here and chat with you. I know you live by the motto, so others may live.
Damn right.
I love that motto. We're all in this rescue field. For that same reason, we enjoy helping people and we do what we love. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about what we get to do every day and get paid to do on your podcast. You've got a great platform and it continues to grow and educate people. and I really appreciate it. And also thank you to all your followers and your listeners that asked all these questions. This is a fun opportunity for us to actually, get a little bit of almost one-on-one time to talk about what it is that we do in detail. So thanks again for your listeners, your followers, and for you for giving us this opportunity.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. I'll be out in Anaheim for HAI. I'm looking forward to running into you guys. If I can make it up to Riverside, I certainly will. But it's going to be straight out balls of the wall when we're down at Heli Expo. Just throwing that out there.
Absolutely.
But anyway, right on, gentlemen. Well, the next time we're together, we're kicking back a beer. Another one. All right?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Awesome. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here.
Go.
Now, it's time for me to pull chocks and take off. But before I go, I'm always looking for the memorable rescues that people have done. If you have one that you're willing to share or know somebody who has a story, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to highlight it here at the Real ResQ. For everybody that is standing by for that SAR alarm, remember, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. So until next time, fly safe and swim hard. Thank you for joining me today here at the Real ResQ Podcast, powered by Vertical Helicast. We'd also like to say thank you to our sponsors for this episode.
Breeze Eastern. For over 80 years, Breeze Eastern has designed and manufactured battle-proven aerial rescue hoists, winches, and cargo hooks. Each product is carefully crafted to support demanding mission scenarios, ensuring the job gets done safely and efficiently. Visit them today at www.breeze-eastern.com.
I had a statement made to me not too long ago, and I wanted to pass it on. The statement was this: you can be a very smart person and still capable of making stupid decisions. My gosh, that hit me like with a ton of bricks, because I was like, man, that's very true. I've been guilty of that as well. It's true, because intelligence and wisdom aren't always perfectly aligned. Sometimes even the brightest minds can fall short and become biased, blind-spotted, or simply make a bad decision. Ultimately, I think it's important to remember that being smart is just one piece of the puzzle. Humility, self-awareness, and willingness to learn from mistakes are equally as important as making sound choices. So the next time you encounter someone making a stupid decision, try to remember there might be more to the story than meets the eye. And for ourselves, it's a good reminder to stay humble, keep learning, and be open to feedback even when we think we've got it all figured out. Because again, and I relate this to me personally, I think I'm a pretty smart guy when it comes to search and rescue. I've been doing this for a long time. But yes, I am still capable of making stupid decisions. And that's okay. Admit to it, own it, learn from it, and move on.